She texted, "Going on a last-minute trip with my ex, don't be jealous." I replied, "Not at all." Then I packed every dress, purse, and pair of shoes she owned into boxes and dropped them at her ex's doorstep. When she came back, she finally realized home wasn't hers anymore. The text message that detonated my 3-year relationship arrived on a Thursday afternoon. It was a masterpiece of passive-aggressive audacity, a perfectly crafted little grenade of disrespect. I was in my workshop, sanding down a piece of reclaimed oak covered in sawdust. My phone buzzed on the workbench. It was from my girlfriend, Amelia. It read, "Going on a last-minute trip with my ex, don't be jealous." I just stared at it. Not with anger. Not with shock. But with a strange, sudden sense of calm. It was the final data point in a long equation that just wasn't adding up. Her ex, a guy named Julian, was a trust fund kid she'd dated in college. He was her permanent what-if, the ghost she kept on a leash, texting him whenever she was bored or wanted to feel desired. I knew they were friends, but this was a new level of brazen. The "don't be jealous" part was the real work of art. It wasn't a request. It was a command. It was designed to put me in an impossible position. If I got angry, I was the jealous, controlling boyfriend. If I said nothing, I was a doormat who was fine with her running off with another man. She thought she had me checkmated. I wiped the sawdust from my hands, picked up the phone, and typed my reply. Not at all. Then I added one more message. Have a great time. I put the phone down, turned on my sander, and went back to work. The low hum of the tool was the only sound in the workshop, but in my head, the gears were turning with perfect, silent precision. She thought this was a test of my confidence. A little power play to keep me on my toes. She had no idea it was a final exam, and she had just failed with flying colors. She was going on a trip with her ex fine. I was just gonna make sure she had everything she needed to stay there. Permanently. Update 1. It's been 72 hours since Amelia left for her last-minute trip. For her, it's probably been a whirlwind of cocktails and reminiscing with her backup plan. For me, it's been a project. And like any project I take on, I approached it with a plan, the right tools, and a focus on a clean, professional finish. After our text exchange, I didn't hear from her again. No flight details, no miss you texts, just silence. That was all the confirmation I needed. The moment I finished work on Thursday, I went back to the house, my house, and started phase 1. The first thing I did was pack. Not for me. For her. I went into our bedroom and opened her closets. It was like a high-end department store had exploded. The sheer volume of stuff was insane. Designer dresses, hundreds of pairs of shoes, a collection of handbags that probably cost more than my first car. For 3 years, I had subsidized this lifestyle. I'm a carpenter. I own my own custom furniture business. I do very well, but I'm a simple guy. I thought I was providing for a partner. I realized now I had been funding a contestant in a game I wasn't even playing. I didn't just throw her stuff in trash bags. That's what an angry, emotional man would do. I'm not that man. I went out and bought 24 high-quality wardrobe boxes and packing supplies. I spent the entire night methodically and carefully packing every single thing she owned. I folded every dress. I wrapped every purse in tissue paper. I put every pair of shoes back in its original box if she'd kept it. It was a strangely calming process. It was like I was archiving a part of my life, boxing up a 3-year mistake. By Friday morning, her entire existence in my house was contained in 28 neatly labeled boxes stacked in my living room. Her half of the closet was empty. Her bathroom counter was clear. The dozens of photos of us that she'd insisted on putting everywhere were taken down and packed in a box labeled, miscellaneous. The next step was logistics. Where was Julian, the ex, living these days? I had a pretty good idea. A few months ago, she had accidentally left a birthday card for him on the kitchen counter. It was addressed to a fancy new high-rise building downtown. A quick search of public property records confirmed he owned a condo on the 34th floor. Easy enough. On Friday afternoon, I rented a small moving van. I loaded all 28 boxes myself. Then I drove downtown to Julian's building. I parked in the loading zone and started unloading. The doorman, a guy in a crisp uniform, tried to stop me. "Can I help you, sir?" All deliveries have to be scheduled. I gave him my most sincere apologetic smile. I am so sorry to do this to you, I said, pulling a $100 bill from my wallet and handing it to him. My friend Julian's girlfriend, Amelia, is surprising him. He's out of town with her right now, and she wanted all of her things moved into his place as a romantic gesture before they got back. A bit of a move-in surprise. The doorman looked at the 100, then at me. He was probably used to the weird, impulsive drama of the rich. He just sighed and pointed me to the service elevator. 34B, don't make a mess. I spent the next hour hauling 28 boxes of a woman's entire life up to the 34th floor. I stacked them neatly and compactly right in front of Julian's front door. It was a beautiful, imposing wall of cardboard. A monument to bad decisions. On the very top box, I taped an envelope. Inside was a simple, typed note. It read, "Julian, it seems Amelia has made her choice. I'm a big believer in not standing in the way of true love. She's all yours now. I've taken the liberty of forwarding her belongings to her new address. All the best. The ex you didn't have to worry about." I took a picture of the scene with my phone. The wall of boxes, the sleek, modern hallway, the number 34B on the door. It was a work of art. I drove home, returned the moving van, and went back to my now wonderfully quiet and minimalist house. I spent the rest of Friday cleaning. I changed the sheets on the bed. I rearranged the living room furniture the way I actually liked it. It felt like I was reclaiming my own space, my own life. On Saturday, I had all the locks on the house changed. I also installed a new security system with a video doorbell. Then I called my younger sister, Claire. She's a nurse who just finished her residency and was starting a new job at a hospital in my city. She was living in a tiny, terrible apartment an hour away, stressed about the commute and trying to save money. "Hey," I said. "I've got a proposition for you. My spare bedroom is now permanently available. Move in. Live here rent-free for a year. Save your money. Get on your feet. The place is yours as much as it is mine. Just help out with bills." She thought I was joking. When she realized I was serious, she broke down in tears. She came over that afternoon with a carload of her stuff. Seeing her so happy, so relieved in the space that had so recently been a source of stress and disrespect for me. It was like a deep, clean breath of fresh air. So while Amelia is off on her little romantic getaway, thinking she holds all the cards, her entire life has been systematically dismantled and rerouted. She has no idea. Her tea won't work. Her clothes are gone. And her spot in my home has already been filled by someone who actually deserves to be there. She's due back tomorrow night. I've already forwarded the picture of the boxes to her with a simple caption. "Looks like your delivery arrived." Her phone has been silent ever since. The silence of a person who has just realized they have made a catastrophic, life-altering mistake. Final update. The end was not a dramatic, tearful confrontation at my doorstep. It was a series of desperate, fragmented voicemails and a final, pathetic email. It was a complete and total implosion. And I had a front row seat from the comfort of my own, newly peaceful home. After I sent her the picture of the boxes stacked in front of Julian's door, Amelia went dark for about 12 hours. I can only imagine the conversation that took place on that last-minute trip. The fun, romantic getaway probably came to a screeching halt the moment she realized her ex-boyfriend had just become her new, unwilling roommate. The first voicemail came in on Sunday morning, the day she was supposed to fly back. It was her. Her voice a frantic, high-pitched whisper. "What did you do? Call me back right now. This isn't funny." The next one came an hour later. It was from Julian. His voice was cold, clipped, and furious. "Listen, man, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you need to come get this stuff. Now, Amelia is a mess, and this is not my problem." I didn't call him back. It was, in fact, now his problem. I had the delivery receipt. According to a mutual friend who I later spoke to, the trip ended with Julian putting her in a cab to the airport and telling her to lose his number. He was a guy who liked a consequence-free good time. He was not a guy who was interested in a surprise, live-in girlfriend with 28 boxes of baggage. Amelia's voicemails got progressively more desperate throughout the day. They shifted from anger to pleading. "Okay, I'm sorry. It was a stupid joke. Please, just call me. I'm at the airport. Where am I supposed to go? I didn't respond. I was busy helping my sister, Claire, set up her new bedroom. We ordered pizza, watched a movie. It was the most relaxed I had felt in years. Amelia got back into town late on Sunday night. The final act began around 11 p.m. My video doorbell lit up. It was her, standing on my porch, trying her key in the new lock. I watched on my phone as her confusion turned to panic. She started banging on the door. I let her go for a few minutes before I answered through the intercom. Can I help you? Her head snapped up to the camera. Alex, let me in. What is going on? My key doesn't work. It's not your house anymore, Amelia, I said, my voice calm and clear through the speaker. You don't live here. What are you talking about? My stuff is gone. You can't just kick me out, she screamed. I didn't kick you out, I said. I just facilitated your move. You made it clear you wanted to be with Julian. I just helped you get your things there so you could start your new life together. It seemed like the supportive thing to do. The cold, hard logic of it seemed to break her. She just stood there, speechless. At that moment, the porch light flickered on, and my sister Claire, woken up by the noise, opened the door, a crack. She was wearing pajamas and looked confused. Is everything okay out here? She asked. Amelia just stared at her, a pretty, kind-faced young woman standing in the doorway of her house. She wasn't a romantic rival, but she was something worse. She was my family. She was proof that the space Amelia had occupied in my life wasn't just empty. It had been filled by someone who genuinely belonged there. The replacement was already in place. Claire, not knowing who Amelia was, just gave her a small, confused wave and closed the door. That was the final blow. Amelia didn't yell anymore, she just crumpled. She sat down on my porch steps and started sobbing. Not angry tears, the broken, hopeless tears of someone who has lost everything and knows it's their own damn fault. I watched for a minute, and I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction. Just closure. She eventually left. The next morning, I got a long, rambling email. It was a pathetic mix of apologies, accusations, and begging. She said she had nowhere to go, that her friends wouldn't take her in, that she was staying at a cheap motel. She asked if she could just come back, just until she got on her feet. She promised she would change. I replied with a single sentence. Your choices are not my responsibility anymore. Then I created a filter to send all of her future emails directly to the trash. I blocked her number. I erased her from my life as completely as I had erased her from my house. My life is quiet now. My sister is thriving in her new job. The house feels like a home, not a showroom. I've been spending more time in my workshop, building things that are solid and real and meant to last. Amelia wanted to test the boundaries of our relationship. She wanted to see how far she could push me. She found out. She flew 1,000 miles to be with her ex, only to find out he didn't want her. And she came back 1,000 miles, only to find out I didn't want her either. She's exactly where she wanted to be. Free to do whatever she wants, with whomever she wants. It just turns out that when you have no one and nowhere to go home to, freedom looks a lot like being homeless.